What's up? Today I wanted to record something special, and today we've got a complete chess strategy guide explained in simple terms. These are the two main rules that you gotta follow in order to play chess really well. That's how grandmasters, myself included, find right moves while playing a game of chess, and by knowing this recipe, you can replicate it in your own games and win way more games. Let's have a look at this position for example. And once again, these are completely universal rules, meaning that they're going to apply for any other chess position just as well. That's how you think while playing a game of chess. Okay, it is white to play, and this is Fischer playing white against Durao playing black, I think, from the Chess Olympia. Anyway, it's white to play, and you can think about this yourself for a second. What do you think is the best move for white here? Now, here's the problem. With this position again, or with any other chess position, there are a bunch of moves that you can play, and it's pretty difficult to figure out which move is the best. Moreover, even when you see somebody commenting on a game of Carlsen against Nakamura or whoever, and they tell you, okay, white played here king to e3 to centralize the king, that still does not explain really the situation, because it leaves many other questions open, like why this move and why not any other move? And how come this move is better than many other moves? Why is the other moves are wrong, right? There are so many questions that still leave you like without a clear understanding of what the heck is going on here when you play chess. Because in this position, you can play king e3, as I just mentioned, to centralize your king, and it's a good rule for the endgame. You could try to relocate one of your rooks to an open file, which is another classical chess rule. You could try to advance some of your pawns forward or prepare that advancement with either, play rook f1 and then push f5, or maybe push this pawn forward, trying to use your space advantage there. Maybe you can relocate your knight to a better square. There are a lot of things that you can do here. So how do you come up with the best shot? All right, now let's forget this all for a second, and now let's get to the right path. So how do you find the right move? All right, here's the first thing. You win a chess game by attacking. And that's why attacking moves are the best, which means that if you have an effective attacking move, that's the move that you play. So first and foremost, instead of using the standard way of thinking, where you look at all the pieces that you have and you think, okay, so how do I shuffle them around till my opponent is running out of time? I mean, maybe you think differently. I'm just saying, for example. You use a completely different way of thinking. So the approach is you look for attacking moves. An attacking move is a move forward to your opponent's half of the board where you either take or attack something. So that's it. So that's how you do it. Again, you focus your attention on enemy territory, on the last 4 ranks, and you ask yourself, how do I go forward onto that territory and take or attack something? Now, good news, in most cases, there aren't many options at all available. For example, in this position, can you take something? I mean, you'd wish to capture this pawn, but it is defended twice by your opponent, therefore that would just lose a knight. So that doesn't work. Can you go forward and attack something? I mean, you'd love to go to d6 and fix your knight there, but again, your opponent is covering it twice, so he'll just trade off all your knights and you're going to lose a pawn at the end. Knight f6. Okay, that's a move. So that's a move that you may wish to consider, because it delivers check to the king, and that is also an attacking move. So is this the right move to play? Well, here we gotta also make a distinction between the real attacking move and not a real attacking move. Now, the real attacking move implies that you move forward, you create threats, and this forces your opponent to retreat, to go back, to worsen their position, to defend, to be passive. So that's what it implies. In this case, we can say, yeah, that's a real attacking move. So if the move knight f6 would force black to move the king, I'd say that knight f6 was great. You advanced your knight to a more active square, and you forced your opponent to just play some passive defensive move, so you rocked. But in this case, it's not really the situation, because he can just trade it off, and that's just an equal exchange. So there was no real attack. It did not create any inconvenience for your opponent. For that reason, I'd say that knight f6, although worth considering for a few seconds, but not really an attacking move, because that only leads to an exchange. All right. So that was the first stage. You look for attacking moves. Quite often, just like in this position, you'll realize that there are no effective attacking moves available. What do you do then? Well, then you come to the second stage of your planning, which is known as the principle of the least active piece. You look at the pieces that you have and you ask yourself, which one is the most passive? Which piece doesn't do anything? And then you figure out which piece is the least active, and you ask yourself, how do I move it to a better square? That's it. So, in other words, if you can't attack immediately, just look for ways to improve your position. And you do that by following this principle of the least active piece. Now, if we look at white's pieces, which one is doing nothing currently? Which one is the least active? So, we see that the knights are doing a pretty good job. They're targeting some squares, and even though they can't create any devastation right now, but they're putting pressure, they're fine. We've got a rook also putting pressure here, We've got a king, okay, not doing too much, but at least it's covering the squares, like central squares, so that the rook, for instance, can't come over and start attacking something. So it does something. And the only piece of white which doesn't do anything at all is this rook on e1. That's the least active piece, and you want to relocate it to a better square. What could be the better square? Well, it could be rook d1, you could play here and just trade it off. Could be one way. Fischer played rook f1, which is a little bit more aggressive idea. So after black responded with rook to d5, Fischer played rook to f3, and it turned out that his idea is to lift the rook to the king side and to attack this weakness on h6. Black played rook d8, black doesn't know what to do, rook h3, this time it's attacking the pawn. And that's a real attacking move. We played the rook to a more active position where it attacks something, and in order to defend this pawn, black has to move back his bishop, putting it to a more backward, less active position. So that's the definition of an attack. You improved your piece and you forced your opponent to go back to worsen his position. You rock. Now, once the bishop went back to f8, it's less active and it no longer covers the square f6. Now, which enables you to play a very natural attacking move, knight to f6. This time it's available. You deliver a check to the king, that's why it's an attacking move. This time it forced the king to go to this ugly square e7, where it locks the bishop, locks the knight, and kind of stands a little bit awkwardly anyway. Alright, what do you do then? Once again, you follow the exact same blueprint. You ask yourself, are there any attacking moves on my opponent's half of the board? If not, you're going to follow the principle of the least active piece. So following this rule, if you focus your attention on opponent's half of the board and ask yourself, how do I go there and create some devastation? Okay, you turn on this barbarian mode, right? Can you create some devastation? Now, the one move that I can see here is knight to g8 check. Move forward, we attack the king as well as this pawn. So at the very least, on the next move, you're going to snatch the pawn, and that's nice. So knight g8 is one possible move. There was also one more move, which actually Fischer played in the game, this move knight takes a5. It's a little combo. It turns out that after pawn takes a5, we've got to move rook to b7, and all of a sudden it's checkmate on the next move, because just the king is so awkward. So he can sacrifice the rook, but all these squares are covered, so that is actually a checkmate. So Fischer won this game convincingly, even though at the beginning it might seem like a locked, more or less equal position, just by following these simple ideas. And you can see that Fischer is considered to be like the greatest player of all times, or at least one of them. And you can see that if you understand these rules, it's quite easy to find same moves yourself. Now, you may be wondering, if I take a couple moves back, that this knight takes a5 was just a sudden tactical thing, maybe it might not work in other position. Well, sure enough, it was more of a sudden tactical opportunity. But if knight a5 does not work, you just play knight g8, another attacking move, and you'd win the pawn, and later on, hopefully, win the game anyway. That's why this way of thinking is so good. It's not just for finding tactical shots, for solving tactical drills, but it allows you to find good attacking moves in whatever position. Before we move on to the next example, I just wanted to thank you for your birthday wishes. It's actually my birthday today. I'm turning 36. And you guys sent me a lot of nice words. I certainly appreciate this a lot. It is because of you and your support that this YouTube channel even exists. Definitely thank you for that. And it's actually one of the big pleasures for me to be involved in chess, because whenever I deal with chess players, they're always nice, smart, and positive people. So I just can't be happier dealing with you. Thank you for all your wishes. Also, to celebrate this occasion, I wanted to do something nice for you. So if you want to get any of my premium chess courses, you can now get them at a 50% discount. You can click the link below the video in the description and get any of them at a 50% discount, so they'll help you advance your chess skills faster than ever. But that's not even all of it. I wanted to have some more bonuses for you. So on top of the 50% discount, you'll get one more course for free, the course of your choice, in addition to the course that you buy at a 50% discount. So in total, you have a massive here upside, and I hope that these courses will help you achieve your chess goals, just like they did for thousands of other students, and I'd be happy to serve you as well. Alright, coming back to the right way of thinking in chess. This is a very standard position. Black has just played bishop to c5. It is white to play. How would you play here if you were playing white? Please think about that for a second. And of course, I don't want you to just guess the move. Try to apply the way of thinking that we talked about before. First, look at your opponent's half of the board and ask yourself, how do I go there and take or attack something? If there's nothing available, then you improve your least active piece. Now, if you follow this way of thinking, you can easily see that there is only one attacking move that you can play. It's a move knight takes c5, where you capture a pawn. Remember, we're looking for captures or attacking moves, right? So that is a capture, and that's a move forward to your opponent's half of the board, and that's definitely the move that you should play here. the only correct move that basically already gives white a winning advantage. You grab the pawn, you're ready to play d4, gain a tempo attacking this bishop on c5, plus you build up these beautiful pawns in the center of the board after something like this, and that already gives you a winning positional advantage and you're up a pawn. Like, that's how you should play. But the fun part about it is that if you look at the stats about this position, you'll see that the vast majority of players played some other moves. They played knight to c3 or bishop c4 or pawn to c3 or d4 or whatever, but not knight takes c5, right? So that's how you can see that you can easily outsmart the vast majority of other players just by following these simple rules. And if this position seems simple for you, let me show you something more advanced. Here's a position that occurred later in the very same game, by the way. It is white to move. Once again, you can challenge yourself and think about this for a second. How would you play here if you're white? We follow the exact same way of thinking. We look at the opponent's half of the board first of all and ask yourself how to go there and take or attack something there. With that being said, it's not that difficult to find moves in lots of various positions, because again, most often you haven't many options at all. Like, you can't really take this pawn that just loses the knight for nothing, right? So can you go forward and attack in any other way? How about knight h5? Is that an attacking move? What do you think? So let's just have a little practice. I mean, it's not, because again, an attacking move should force your opponent to defend. It should create a threat. And here, yes, you land to your opponent's half of the board, but there is no threat. Your opponent can play whatever he wants, and he can also trade off this knight, or he can play whatever. So, what are the attacking moves? There is a move knight to e6. That's definitely one of the moves to consider. Knight e6 is a fork to the rook as well as the bishop. It looks very good. I mean, in reality, black can play bishop b6 and counterattack, and this bishop gets to this active diagonal, which together with the queen can create some threats. So that requires some calculation, but nevertheless, knight e6 is a good move that you should definitely consider, so that's one of the options. Is there anything else? Another move forward that you can do in order to take or attack something is a capture, queen takes a7. And I kind of like this move. It's simple. You grab a pawn, plus there is no bishop b6 available anymore. You'll just take it. You attack this other pawn on b7 anymore. You even defend this pawn on a2 so that your opponent cannot capture it with a queen. So there is a lot of good stuff with queen takes a7, and that's probably the move that I'd play. As you can see, it's very simple when you follow the right way of thinking. You don't have to think about 10 of different moves that you could possibly play here. You just think about 2 moves, and you pick the one which you love the most. In the game, by the way, the white player missed this queen takes a7 move just as well, just like he missed knight takes e5 in the previous example, and finally the game ended in a draw. But you see that it's so easy to find right moves. By the way, Stockfish says here that queen c5 is the best move, aiming for queen e7, or maybe after that you have the threat of knight takes d5 followed by queen takes c7, but it's more complicated stuff. And I'm a grandmaster. Being real, I certainly wouldn't find queen c5 in a blitz game, and I'm not even convinced that I would find it in a long-time control game. But I would definitely find queen takes a7 just following the exact blueprint of thinking that I'm sharing with you. So, maybe occasionally you won't find, the very best shots, but you can play very decent chess, and you can, defeat 99% of your current opponents just following this way of thinking. Okay, and here is one final example, the game between 2 grandmasters, Moskalenko against Zagribelny. It is white to move. Now, how would you play here if you're white? Again, it's the exact same thing. You can see that the position is drastically different in every example that we analyze, but the thinking process is exactly the same. That's why it's so simple when you know it. All right, so first off, how do you attack something on your opponent's half of the board? I mean, you could take here, but your opponent just recaptures, therefore that doesn't give much to white. You don't have any other pieces to support your attack there. Now, is there any other move forward that would attack something? Well, there is a move queen to g4, which looks pretty good, as you threaten checkmate in 1 with queen takes g7. But what I don't like about it is that black can play f6, and just attack this bishop, forcing it to move, and after that black can do whatever he wants next. So although queen g4 is an option, you may consider it, but we say that it's not the ideal attacking move that we want, because it does not really force your opponent to defend, to go back, do something passive. He defends very comfortably by actually counterattacking. Now, if there are no attacking moves available, what do we do then? Principle of the least active piece. Which piece is the least active in white's position? Well, we've got this active bishop, the queen is ready to come out, the rook is defending this pawn, you can possibly lift it here in the future. There is only one piece which doesn't do anything at all, this rook on f1. So how do you activate it? Well, there are a number of ways. You can try to play pawn f4 and either push the pawn forward so that the rook gets active from its starting position, or maybe lift the rook this way. In the game, you also play rook d1, which is also decent, bring the rook to a more active square, possibly supporting this pawn, and maybe you can lift the rook this way. So rook d1, decent option of white, just following the very same way of thinking. Black played pawn to f5, and after an exchange of pawns, let me ask you this time to think about this, and if you can find the right move for white, please write it down in the comments below. And let me remind you that the special offers in honor of my birthday will expire within several days. Therefore, if you wish to level up your chess, please click the link below the video in the description and find the course that you enjoy the most, together with all the discounts and bonuses, and keep crushing it. Take care.